Hi guys, thank you very much for being here. Paulina here talking to you about this incredible new moon on the 4th of February 2019. It is now the 1st of February and I'm just touching on a few notes here. Okay, so we have to be very patient, and it feels to me that we have to be very proud and very subdued and soft. Whether or not you feel good about where you are or where the dog year has placed you, now it's just not ideal to change it. So basically, however you are, wherever you are, we are well and truly in Aquarius. We're now in a fixed sign. It is also a very, very sensitive time to me as I'm looking at the chart here in front of me. And this also for me represents a very, very, very obvious ending, perhaps, of a sequence of events, or a very, very beautiful, fresh, and very perhaps fine or thin start. We are going through a very murky time. It feels to me that a lot of us can't stop. We can't stop changing, we can't stop arguing, or we can't stop shifting. But it feels to me that stop we must, and we have to now reconnect the dots and reorganize in order to let this time be as soft and as beautiful and as easygoing and as kind and as gentle as we can, because I don't really feel this as the type of time where we must change things how we would have usually done during such a moon. I don't believe that this is the type of time where we have to accelerate and speed up too fast, although the Sun is conjunct Mercury during this time. And although it is a very, very strong and loving energy that I'm feeling here from this particular alignment, it is also very perhaps dark or neutralizing to anything that wants to stick out. So what I mean is, for example, if you have thoughts and feelings, or you have any kind of delegatory sort of matter-of-factness about you, it feels to me that trying to change things requires here time. And it also feels to me that as Saturn progresses towards Pluto, and also as Venus is connecting to Capricorn, it is very good to keep matters of the heart civil, and to keep any kind of reorganizing mute. So what I mean is, yes, of course, things are going to change, things are going to shift around, but it feels to me that the kinder and the more sensitive and the more honest, or the more lucid we are, the more kind we are, we will make it work better than if we are trying to really upheave or change things around. So it's like slow, soft, kind-hearted steps, and also vulnerable feelings to the surface, because I really don't feel this moon is really about us pushing on through. It feels that this type of energy is more about kindness, support, and relatability. Also, always consider the whole year as well. Consider the whole year, and also the cycles of the many years that it took to get us here. And now here we are in the pig year, and it's a soft, slow, creative cycle. And though Aquarius does make us feel like we can go very far, or we can change very fast, or we can throw away the previous keys, it also feels to me that here it can be very, very abrupt and very, very obvious if you make a mistake. Also, it feels to me that things are on the surface. The feelings that are not compatible, and the pictures that are not together, or people that don't work together, or situations that naturally fall apart no matter how much you want them to work, and also the types of dimensions that just don't exist for you anymore are obvious. Things are coming to the surface now. So whether or not you like it, you will start to realize and recognize. And perhaps also here, you may also start to recognize and realize the past, because we have so much going on to the 12th house of the moon here and the sun. It really might be a very good idea to talk to yourself inside your head, or to be with yourself somehow for a while, perhaps through meditation or self-reflection or some other form of gentle reconnection, and try to recognize where you are still trying to go far, where it is no longer probable, or where are you starting to commit maybe where you are not organic or natural, and what are the inorganic ways that you are weaving your story, which might now need to fall apart. Also, please consider what I've said about the pig year please make sure that you have a lot of motion, a lot of leeway, a lot of range. You can slip and slide and change things around if you really need to. It's very good to have extra money in the bank. It is very good to have some cushioning and some padding. Keep in touch with those that you have made friends with over the years, especially over the last while. And maybe also consider how you can condense your work or your routine or your regime in a way where it can be the most safe and the most, how can I say, eloquent and the most easygoing, so you don't make complications for yourself. I feel that this particular type of month does not do well with complications. It doesn't really do well with ambition. We're already feeling the pig year come through. It's not really truly about pushing on through, shoving past people, as you know, 2 or 3 months ago we could have easily walked right in front of others and made ourselves the front of the line. You know, we could have easily walked past our competition, that we could have made sense in a new way, we could have created more than enough friends. We could have made many mistakes and also many promises and gotten away with it, but now it is not really truly at all possible in the same sense. So it's not really about pushing people out of the way. It's not about pushing yourself to the front of the pack. That will be uneasy later. So if you have a very delegatory approach to life, if you're very abusive, or if you're a very confusing person, or if you are trying to make people like you, or maybe you really want people to move aside, or if you generally love to speak out and speak the truth and kind of like bang things together and just make things work really fast, or if you have an abrupt personality, this particular type of moon might be very insecure for you. And also the ones that might suffer during the cycle is the ones that feel they have no leeway, or maybe their personality got them into such a rut where they can't actually walk up to any new ground. And also you might feel limitation. If you have a limitation socially, if you have social anxiety, if you've started to maybe treat people very seriously in your world, and this dog year has made you understand finally how important it is to have a nice social conduct, maybe by now you can see, or you can realize where you have been putting your feet wrong, or where you have tried to maybe abuse another person to get yourself ahead, or where you maybe have misplaced yourself because you haven't been able to fit in with other people as people. Maybe there is still separation between you, or maybe there is still some kind of annoyance at people in general. So all of these social issues will come out to the surface. Also, it feels to me that all social regret. So for example, if you've been somebody who was maltreated or maladdressed in the past, even if it was something that happened in your childhood or at high school or something, it might be very easy now to speak to people, but at the same time you might find that it is not really about you being loved. Maybe you still might feel or suspect that there is like an unloved part of you, or being uncomfortable around people as the given. And also please make sure that these patterns don't stick around. So it's very hard to make change during such a shift. But what you might want to do maybe is talk yourself out of any derogatory or uncomfortable situations and patterns with the past. Also, if you are seeing now, maybe in your family or close group of friends, you are repeating old patterns of trauma, or if you're trying to be the traumatized person no matter who you are or where you are. So that needs to be perhaps ridiculed, changed, laughed about, or just poked fun at in a nice way, so you can forget these patterns fast, or you can move away seeing the humor in any kind of archetype that you're creating out of yourself, and also any kind of behavior that is cliche behavior, and perhaps it is not actually part of your voice or part of your world. It is something that you've done because, say, your mother's done it or your father has done it, and sometimes it's not even trauma. It is just repetition of the previous patterns that other people have taught you were good. So also the other thing here is to recognize form and the formula for your world. How it's all forming, how it's all coming together. We're in the last 2 signs here. So Aquarius is the second to last sign before Pisces. So we have to like understand how we have done Okay, so Aquarius is a time when we're really counting the chickens. This is the last masculine sign. This is the last light sign. So this is where you recognize where your glory, where your popularity, where your proactivity, where your uniqueness, and where your style or where your true spirit has taken you in the past year, maybe, or maybe even more than that. How you have formed yourself as a presence, and also what are the people saying about you. So as people are reflecting on you, or as life reflects on you, what is it that you have created, or what is the outcome or the sum of who you are? And this has to be something that you do maybe without language. You don't have to talk about this. I mean, you don't have to express it in any way, but maybe to yourself, and start to see the sum of your world. So what I mean is where you have gotten yourself in the last few years, how you've done in the last few days, and the few days coming up to this moon. What are the rhythms and the choices that you struggle with, and what are the tides that you're swimming against also? That's the other thing to show to yourself. Is the fight that you're fighting worthy of itself? Uranus Mars, okay, as well. And how are you really truly in the community or in the place that you're keeping? So what is the relevance, and what is the reference? It's like, how can I say, how are you relevant in the group of people where you work? Or perhaps what is the relevance of your energy within any kind of group or commitment? It would be also very good to see how you feel in your family. To be the black sheep all the time, I feel, is not worthy. Okay, so if you're feeling like a black sheep in any kind of configuration of people, especially when it comes to society and the dream time of the collective all, it would be very, very nice to take a look and maybe see, are you proud of who you've come to be? Or do you not feel very proud? Do you feel risky? Do you feel strange? Do you still have teeth? Please try to knock out any issues. Please try to no longer harbor any vision or any strength or any depth that is not going to bring you anything, or that's not going to take you far. Also, please have a look at any how can I say, mind games you're playing with yourself, and especially with another person, if there's other people involved. And also, what are you trying to conceptualize within this world? Some of us have projects and have ideas and visions that we have not actually had the time to let go of. And some people perhaps might be so far or so vast out of their prism of perception, they might not be able to really mend who they are together with what they hope to achieve. So that's another thing. We're counting the chickens now. We're in the last masculine sign of the zodiac. It is really nice to see how you did, okay? And then start to maybe also through this recognize how you have done before, and perhaps what are the different types of things that you've done or you've been doing in your world that haven't gotten you far. And that means that with this particular new cycle of the moon, it's not really about starting off fresh as much as it was maybe when the moon was in Aries. New moon in Aries is about that, but here it is not so much about starting off fresh, as this is the second to last sign. It's more about fresh patterns and fresh behaviors, seeing perhaps the portfolio of your work, seeing the portfolio of your world, and then starting to gain insight, perhaps through meditation or through your own psyche, through your own planning, through your own work, or maybe even through friends and what people say about you, and what is the feedback about you as a practitioner, or feedback about you as a presence. Then perhaps later understand what you can dispatch, like what you can let go of, what you can no longer hide maybe, and just sift through the process, you know, the process, the psyche, Aquarius, the global collective pineal, you know, the collective mind. Aquarius, please have a look. What are these processes that you go through in life, and what are they teaching you? But also, what are the different ways in which you can make your life simpler, but in making it simpler, you're also allowing things to become greater. So this is not about letting go of things you can't handle. It's about that as well, but it's more making a nice, easy formula, okay? And perhaps what you've done before didn't create itself in the biggest way. Maybe you are working in an industry polar opposite to where you thought you'd be. Maybe the place that life has given you in the last few months isn't exactly what you felt was worthy. Or maybe it is. Maybe you surprise yourself in terms of your context in the end of it all. But the thing here is basically not to be guru above your experience. Not easy here to change your focus too fast. It's not easy here to suddenly decide that you want something, okay, all of a sudden. It's not easy. Basically, try to remember what you've done in the last 3 or 4 years, how it has been, what it has achieved, what is the chronolinear overall, and try to keep yourself together. So this is not really at all about change, okay? Though you might want also to employ somebody else or help somebody else or be together with other people that can help you receive advice. People are people, but they're all almost like reflections of yourself, if you can imagine. So it's not really the type of time to get tribal, you know, it's not really the type of time to get really staunch about anything. Though you can if that's part of your nature and has been for a long time, but to suddenly require love, or to suddenly require family, or to slightly like to slightly shock people or emote in ways that suggest tribalism or that suggest any kind of nationalism or any kind of grouping, be careful with that. So to me that's very immature, and it could lead to lots of nonsense. So those people that are suddenly experiencing this huge elevation towards like global meaning, you know, especially people that are slightly like political all of a sudden and they just want to like be known. You know, it's like they've never performed in front of a group, they want to perform. Or like people that really want to suddenly take care of things on a very showy level. That can be very unusual. And not many people that haven't done something before will get a true, pure and comfortable chance to try things afresh. So if you haven't done something before and it's not a universal quantum reflection of your whole soul and your spirit and your journey and your inner process, it is likely not going to last. So please make sure that you're not throwing anything out. Make sure that you're true to yourself. Make sure that you're honest and that you're kosher about who you've been and who you've come out as through this cycle, and also what are the different types of temperaments or different types of inner feelings and inklings that you have that are maybe not you, but you're trying to like put on a character, you know, and what are those that are truly you and truly yours, and the formulas that keep on recurring, parts of your personality, parts of your mood, like parts of you. Because through these genuine parts, you will find much more for yourself. So just a little addition to this. I'm going to do tarot cards. I'm going to just pick 3 cards for you guys, just to make sure that I haven't missed out on anything, because sometimes I get carried away. Okay, so I've got my cards in front of me here. And I'm going to take a look at this moon now. Okay, so... okay. So the first card here is this. Okay, so this is the Hierophant reversed. To me this is a fantastic energy for trying things anew, maybe seeing where you're a little bit stuck, maybe seeing when you're a little bit worried about how you're seen in front of people, maybe starting to walk away from mainstream, maybe starting to walk towards what is comfortable for you, trying to no longer submit and be around people that are trying to bind you up. Also maybe trying to feel more unbound within your own focus, maybe being more natural, becoming more organic, seeking out things that are more therapeutic for you, and no longer getting stuck with the wrong crowd. Okay, so another card here is... okay, so here is the King of Wands reversed. Maybe it's a fantastic time to no longer elaborate on things that are taking too much passion and too much angst. So the fire maybe has to be put down a little bit, or maybe you might want to consider how else to use your time and your force, and what more you can achieve through being a little bit maybe more passive, more kind and more rounded in terms of who you are. and also considering new types of leadership, new systems of power, new systems of control. I mean, if you, for example, live in the United States, yes, so no longer working within this kind of rigid, masculine, strong, forceful archetype that we've had for the last 4 or 5 years, and starting to actually reach out more towards something more meaningful in an organic, soft and cuddly way, or making space for something just soft. And the last card for this transit is, okay, so here, and this is perfect because see, we are coming away from the rigid masculine, okay, and we're walking towards a more powerful, meaningful dimension where we can just enjoy and become more organically inspired in our lives. So thank you very much. I hope that you enjoy counting your chickens this February. If you'd like to know more about me, if you'd like to book a reading, or if you'd like to, I don't know, everything's in the caption section below. But also, if you want more information about your particular sign by Stellium, Moon, Ascendant and Sun, I will be putting all of these on Patreon, so every sign gets a reading for this transit. The Almanac now is on sale. It is 50% off. Okay, so thank you very much. I really enjoyed reading for you, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.